Hi guys, I hope you are doing really great. I am also doing very good, great. This video is made in the as a summary of the three videos you might have seen. Those were made in Hindi about the CA journey in my 60 days. Now, since many students they were asking us to make a video in English. So we thought, okay, let's make a crisp short video. So do see this till the end, and this is a tremendously good video. Even if you're not seen the other three videos, if you don't understand Hindi, this video is self-sufficient for you to understand. And this is basically we have made for the South Indian guys also, those who don't understand Hindi. So without wasting any time, let's get into the main video. And this video is basically made for those who will have exams till next 30 days. So in that way we have made this content. Okay, now you have exam in the next 30 days, so naturally you can't focus on the second group at this stage. So whatever, you have to focus on one group only. So if you're giving a one group or a single group, to focus on one group at a time. So if you're giving both the groups, I would suggest you focus on one group only. So one group, if I'm telling you to focus, then then that group will be your first group most probably. Or if you are giving a second group, so you have 30 days around, maybe 25 days. So you divide the number of days by the number of subjects. Suppose you have 25 days basically now, so 25 days divided by 4, it comes to around 6 to 7 days you have in hand. So make sure that now you don't take it to two or three subjects at one day. This is my suggestion. Don't take 2 or 3 subjects at one day. And the next thing I will tell you, there are two types of students. One student, he will be done with everything, and another type of student, he has done 50%, he has done, or 50-60% is done, he's not okay with it, he may not be confident. Now the most important thing, whatever type of student you are, you have to start now practicing by writing a lot. Okay, now the most important thing out here will be that you do the RTPs and mock papers. So you can do, like, suppose you are allotting that I have 24 days and you're allotting 6 days one subject. And also when you're taking this, I'm telling this, the subject that you should take, it should be at the bottom of that subject. Suppose if you're taking group 1, the law comes at the last generally, so take law first and then audit, then SFM, then accounts, because like this also accounts you have to do in the last stages. So taking now accounts will not make sense. This is what I'm take from the bottom now. Okay, now what I have to do, you have to do is that you have to start practicing you can like this, you do 3 days you practice the entire syllabus, and then 3 days you do the mock papers. You can take some question bank also. Don't take the latest question bank, take the earlier question banks you can take, and the questions which have come, you take the RTPs, solve the RTPs. Now the timing that you should select, I would suggest that time that you should select is between 2 to 5. The reason we're taking 2 to 5 is that because that is the time that is the most unproductive time for many people. At least for me, I think that is that time people generally like to sleep a lot, they feel lethargic. So and that time normally the exams also happen. So you take that time only 2 to 5. You take the reading time. In the reading time, I'm telling you again and again, I said in earlier video also, that reading time is given to you not to solve the answers, just to know. Make sure that whatever questions you don't know, you just mark it in that 15 minutes time. So that 10 to 15 minutes time is only for start with the mandatory sections. Don't see the compulsory section. MCQ always take till, I would suggest take it in the end, because like you will have enough time. MCQ you can take it in the end also. The compulsory sections you have to, whatever is a compulsory section, that you do it at the end, and what is the which is not the compulsory section, you should start first that. Okay, and the 15 minutes is only for just knowing which question I have to leave. Okay, so this already I have explained in the earlier videos. I'm just making a summary of this video, so you have all, you might be thinking why I'm repeating it. I'm repeating for those who don't understand Hindi, so that is what I'm trying to repeat this. Another thing that this I've told about the reading time, and then 2 to 5 you to practice this paper. After 2 to 5 is over, at least make sure in this 2 to 5, first 2 to 3 questions should be your correct. Okay, I have seen that many of the people, the major reasons of failure of paper, though two reasons are major. First reason is they are not able to complete their paper in time. I've seen that people who fail by 15 to 20 marks, normally they leave paper around 20, 30, 40 marks, they leave the paper. So they do donation also. So you can't do donation in the in the CA final exam, especially in final or even IPCC, you can't do donation because like this institute scale down a lot of marks. You can't do donation from your end. The second thing that generally people fail is that the first 2 or 3 questions they make blunders. So make sure that the first 2 3 questions you don't make any blunder. So 2 mistakes I'm telling you again, I'm repeating. Complete your paper, full paper, whatever you know you should complete. You can't do donation by not leaving the paper. You will give an excuse that paper lengthy tha. That should not be your excuse, because if it is lengthy for you, it is lengthy for each and every one, even for the who's getting an AR1. So make sure you should complete your paper. And second thing is that, and you also pray to God that paper you should be able to complete rather than coming paper easy or tough. That doesn't make sense. Paper, so you should be able to complete your paper. What you know you should be able to complete. The second thing that I have to tell you is that apart from this is that first 2 or 3 questions you have to focus and writing the right answers. So after writing that answer, first select the question well which you know very well in the exam, and after you write the answer, you check your answer also whether you have written the answer right or not. Whether it's suppose it's a sum, suppose it's a account or SFM or taxation, make sure that you don't make any silly mistakes. Do calculator and everything you do, and check it whether you have written it right or not. Because if you make a silly mistake there, or you have not given a working note, then what happens is generally the examiner will treat you as an average person, and then he will give you marks later on like a telephone number. This has happened with me only in ISCA. First 2 questions were wrong, and this is the first time I failed ever in my life. And then out of 6 I got 0, and then they give marks like a telephone number. So don't give the excuse or give any reason to examiner to deduct marks. All your efforts will go in vain. Complete your paper, and first 2 or 3 questions has to be correct. The next thing I have to tell you, very, very, very important thing. If you don't know any answer, don't write wrong answer. Don't make a wild guess out there. Especially in audit or law, let's write 1 or 2 marks to mil jayega. That will be a very disaster for you, because if you are writing a wrong answer, then that will not help you. Even if you want to make a guesswork, write those guesswork in the last stages, okay? Because don't make it in the first stage only. In the first 2 or 3 or 5 questions that you are writing, you have to be very much particular that you don't write the wrong answers, because that will give a wrong impression, and then the examiner will deduct marks. Like this also, if you are not sure about writing, if you know that your answer is wrong, then don't write it. This is not a college exam. This is CA final, okay? So you have to write the right answer. If you don't know, don't write, okay? I remember that I wrote 58 marks in law and I got 40. I wrote 75 marks in audit, I got 49. Means normally what I write, I get 70%. So it is not, if you don't write, I wrote only 58 marks in law and I got 40. So that is what I am trying to say. What you know, write only that much. Don't write wrong answers. If you write wrong answer, then they will cut marks. So don't do these 3 mistakes. This is very gold information I have told you. This is the reason that people fail. They write the wrong answer. They don't complete the paper in time. First 2 or 3 questions they make a blunder, and then they blame the institute. But you can't blame the institute, because they have also the pressure that they have to make out of 60 papers they check, they will make 3 to 4 only CA. So they also have the pressure, na. Everybody can't become CA, na. Then there will be competition in unemployment also. Then there will be unemployment also. Where they will hire CAs. So you have to understand that perspective as well. Okay. So this I have told you. Practice the mock paper. When you are writing 2 to 5 mock paper, after in 5 to 6 time, when you are writing a mock paper, like at this stage you are writing a mock paper, the 5 to 6 you recheck your mistake. You recheck your paper also. You recheck your paper with a red pen, and try to find out what mistakes that you have done. And give your marks, give yourself marks also. How will you give your marks? I've told you earlier also. Marks should be, suppose it is a 8-mark question, so give yourself 70% marks if you are totally correct. If you are marginally wrong, give yourself 0 directly. Be a little strict with you, like an institute examiner, and like this you give yourself marks and see how much you're getting. If you're getting 60 around, then it's good. If you're not getting less than that, then it is a problem. Then you have to do more papers. At least do 2 or 3 papers each and every subject from here onwards. You have to do 2 or 3 subjects. Now after 2 to 5 you give exam, 5 to 6 you check the paper, 6 to 8 you redo your mistakes. Now you have made a mistake in something. Now you write it. At least write 2 times. Don't write 1 time, write 2 times. Make sure that that answer is now set in your brain. And once you have written those answers which you have made wrong, you will not make mistake in the exam, and you don't have to revise it again and again also. So make sure that you write those answers between 6 to 8. Now what you will do after 8, normally you treat this as an exam only. So you think that now my tomorrow is only exam, so again you start doing the same process. You start revising the whole syllabus, and only the most important questions you do. I have earlier said in my second video maybe about the L2. So what things you think that is very important also, and you facing problem, you mark it as L2, and which you think it is easy and you will be able to manage, mark it as easy. So you have to focus on the L2 questions only at this stage, and if you get a surplus time, then you can focus on the that one easy questions. So that way you have to do. After this is over, so that way you have to complete yourself. So means you have to give mock paper 2 to 5. Again I'm repeating, 2 to 5 you give your mock paper, 15 minutes reading time, 2 to 5 mock paper. After you give the mock paper, 5 to 6 you do the recheck verification. After you recheck the paper, then you do the editing part of whatever you make the mistake. 6 to 8 you do the recheck part, and after 8 you start practicing again, like the similar like you have an exam next day. Why I'm telling you this process is that this is a very important process. Normally you see in the cricket also, the greatest batsmen like Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli, they will practice in their nets also just before the match. Why they are practicing? Sachin Tendulkar is also practicing in the nets. They don't know batting. No, they know batting, but they want to practice so that they have the confidence before the real match. This is the same process you also have to follow. That you have to practice by writing and rechecking your mistakes and everything. So just studying will not help you. You have to practice by writing and redoing your mistakes, and make sure that the first 2 questions are correct. If the first 2 questions are wrong of yours when you are doing this, then you have to give marks like a telephone number to yourself. So make sure that first 2-3 questions that you are selecting, that has to be correct. And this is the major reason I have seen so many people paper, the first 2 questions that they are selecting for writing, there only they make mistakes. Then how can they pass? If the first 2 or 3 questions you are making a mistake, then you cannot pass, right? So you can't make a mistake in the first 2 to 3 questions. You can't afford to miss your paper as well. You have to complete your paper as well. Okay, so I have covered almost all the pointers. Now, very important thing, how you will study in that 1.5 days. I know this video is little longer, but I am covering all the pointers so that I don't have to make again and again video on the same topic. How you will practice in that 1.5 days, that is actually the main thing, because whatever the hard work you've done, but that 1.5 days actually makes the biggest difference. I'm telling you, friends. For first exam you will get a lot of time. The challenge starts from the next exam. So my secret hack is what I have learned is that after you complete the paper, don't discuss with your friends. Run quickly to your home. Go, take a cab or something and go quickly. Don't walk through the park after the exam. Be vigilant enough, be alert, and go through your home quickly and start studying again. Don't relax, don't eat too much, don't sleep too much in that 1.5 days, because make sure that 1.5 days that you are having, that is like a 2020 cricket. You can't play test cricket that time. You can't wait for let's relax at that time, because you have 18 hours and you have to cover so much high syllabus. 100 marks you have to cover in that 18 hours. And please remember this, I have given my exam also, and especially those who are giving for the first time, you won't remember anything what you have studied in the 90 days. I'm telling you, you won't remember much what you have studied in the 90 days. So that 1.5 days you will think, yaar humko to kuch yaad hi nahi aa raha. You will think that I don't remember anything. That is why it is so important that each and every minute is very, very important. Don't waste each and every minute. Don't talk to your parents. Don't talk to your friends, anybody. Don't waste your time in sleeping or this much. Don't waste unnecessary time in relaxing. That is the time you have to invest and make sure that you study a lot. Okay. Now what I used to do is, I will go to a home by 5:50 or 6. I will take a tea and I will start practicing RTP papers, RTP and mock papers. 5:30 to 12 I will do RTP mock paper, whatever I can, how much I can, I will do fatafat. I will walk through the park. I will walk through also in my room, and I will complete it. I will sometimes I will remember. I will talk in loud noise also, so that I remember everything whatever I am studying. If it is a theory paper, I will look into the mirror also, and most of the times I revise the theory answers. So that is my strategy that I used to follow. I look in the mirror and I will practice. Or if it is a theory, I will write also. If it is a sum, if it is a sum, then I will write also. So 5:30 to 12 you have to do RTP mock papers. The next day what you have to do is that, friends, the next day you have to take individual subjects and you have to practice them, and make sure that you complete your everything by next day only. I'm telling you, it is not that difficult. You have to take only the questions now and the next day which you feel that you don't know. So you, by my own only, you mark those questions which you think that this is a tricky question. This I have to check once during the exam. Make sure that suppose there are in chapter, like suppose one chapter is there of accounting standard or something, any chapter you take, in that chapter there are 20 questions, so marks, there will be 5 to 6 questions that will be easy, so write them easy. There will be 5 to 6 questions that will be tough, so write them tough. L2 I used to write, and only revise those questions only during the exams. Don't do all the questions during the exam. If you try to do all the questions, you will not be able to complete your the syllabus only revising during the 1.5 days. So you have to be selective during the exams. You can't do everything. So people actually generally make these mistakes. They don't revise well during the 1.5 days. They try to do everything. You don't have to do everything. You have to take the most important questions. You feel that you have to see them during the exams. You have, and something which is easy, you have to write easy. Something which is tough, you write your way. L2 I used to write, learn to. So I have to recheck this during the exams. This is very, very important, I told you. Apart from this, now you have completed your like this, I will be, and also one more thing, when you will do in the 1.5 days, make sure that the chapter that you start in the initial stage, you take those chapters which covers the bulk of the marks. For example, if you're taking audit, then accounting standard and professional ethics more or less cover 40 to 50% your weightage. To complete them first. Don't take a 4 to 5 marks chapter and invest 2 to 3 hours, and then you become in the trouble, and then you ask your friends and call them friend how much you have completed. Don't do those things. I used to never call my friends and then how much तेरा कितना हो गया, मेरा इतना हुआ है. Don't do those things. Don't ask your friends कि तुम्हारा कितना हुआ, मेरा कितना हुआ. Don't do those things. That will be actually that will increase your pressure. I used to not do those things. That will not help me ना. उससे मेरे को क्या करना है, right? So what I used to do is I will do the Pareto analysis. Suppose this 3 or 4 chapters covers 50% marks, so I have to make sure that I will do the hours also. Like in 12 hours I have to complete this much marks. So suppose in 12 hours I have to complete 100 marks, so each hour I have to complete 8 to 10 marks, right? So this is the math principle that is to unitary method I have to follow. 100 marks, 12 hours, so each hour I have to complete 8 to 10 marks, right? So that way you also have to follow during the exams, during that 1.5 days, that to 100 marks, 12 hours maybe you will study. So each hour you have to cover 10 to 12 marks. So that way you will be vigilant enough whether you're going in the right track or not. If you have to make sure that each hour carries marks. Okay, each hour carries marks. मतलब हर घंटा में आपको 8 से 10 मार्क्स कमाना है. This is a very, very important thing, that each hour carries 10 to 12 marks. So you have to earn marks during that each and every hour. Okay, this is very, very important again. So I've told you all the important points only, that each hour carries marks. So make sure that 10 to 12 marks you're earning during this. Apart from these two things, I have to tell you last. Okay, I know this video is a little longer, but I told you very, very important point. You will not find this anywhere else that much easily. One thing that I remembered is that the next day when you have an exam, suppose your exam at 2 o'clock, then next day you wake up early, sleep by 12 and next day you wake up at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, wake up early and you start writing. Suppose it is some chapter like account or SFM or whatever, direct tax, indirect tax, whatever it is. If it is a some chapter, you start practicing some. I used to do some random sampling, and each and every chapter I used to take some sums and I used to start writing. At least not the full part. I will to take something. At least my hands should move. Na. So I used to practice 20 to 25 questions by 11 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, I used to practice that much. From 6 to 11, I used to start writing and practicing. Why I'm practicing? I practice because so that my hand does not get stuck during the exam. I don't get nervous. My pen is working properly or not. Everything I have to check beforehand. So that helps me a lot. And I remember that I used to take important questions. I used to decide earlier only what questions I have to take during the exam to write. And I've seen that I was very lucky that 20% what I wrote, that only came in the exam also. So you have to be very clever enough to write those questions during the just before the exam, which have the probability that those questions can come in exams. I have also had many students also in this respect, and I've asked them to write those, and those questions only came in exam and they cleared also. So that is a very important strategy that I used to follow during the exam. Write. People don't write this during 1.5 days. They never write, and people will not suggest to write, but I would suggest you should write just before the exam. Now the last 2 hours of your exam, that's between 12 to 1, okay, 12 to 2, or that is the time. That time I would suggest you that take something which you have not done in the past also. Maybe you have not done any chapter, you have not done suppose ICRA or SAB, you have not taken any chapter, okay, and you think that this chapter is very important. I would suggest you take some questions out of them and do it, because this is what I remember. If you 1 or 2 hours before the exam, whatever you do, that gets stuck in your head. I remember in the costing, I never did theory before, okay. Even in SFM, I never did theory before. But just before that 1 or 2 hours that I had, I just took some theory in costing or something SFM, and I just gone through it. And but luckily, those questions came in exam also. Even in law also, I took up some chapters and I did it. Some penalty questions were there, I remember, and I was able to write in the exam also, and by God grace I got 14 law, and if I have not written that, maybe I have not become CA also now. Yeah, it could have been the case that I would have become CA very late, after 3 or 4 or 5 attempts. So that is it's very important. In the last 2 hours, you take up something which you have not done in the past also. Suppose you have tried to complete a syllabus before it only, and the last 2 hours, try to take up something which you have not taken in the past and try to do them as well. Something you think that this is very difficult, I don't understand this, something you can complete them very quickly. So try to do that. Try to do that also, and make sure that you study till the end. Even if you're working, you're traveling, or everywhere you're doing everything, you study. And also reach your exam hall before only. Just before your exam only, you reach your exam hall. Just before your exam, suppose your exam is at 2, so reach your exam hall 1 hour earlier only. One mistake I also did in my direct accession exam, I was very late in this exam, but I was able to make up. That is a different story. I reached 15 minutes late, but still I was able to complete the paper in time, because I had practiced a lot before the exam by writing. So that helps me a lot. And this is very important. It may happen, I'm telling you, this is very, very important, because God test you in sometimes, that it may happen that 1 or 2 exams you might go late in your exam hall. It can be the case. If you appear late in the exam, don't panic. That is the most important thing. You start writing. Whatever you know, you start writing. Don't read out too much. Your reading time is over. And one more thing about reading time is that when you're getting 15 minutes reading time, you just remember that you have to check that what questions you don't have to do. Once the reading time is over, once the bell is rung, then you have to start writing. Most of the times I have seen this, that students, what they do is, after the reading time is over, even I've seen my friends only, they start thinking whether what question I have to do, what question I don't have to do. I'm telling you, once the bell is rung, your job is to start writing. If you start thinking at that time what I have to do or what not to do, I'm telling you, you will not be able to complete your paper in time, and you will not be able to complete your paper in time. You will not be able to clear your exam also. There is a high probability, if you are not able to clear your paper in time, there is a high probability you may not be able to clear your exam also, because you can't give donation in CA exams. CA exams you can't give donation by not completing what you know, because there will be scaling also. Okay, so please complete your paper in time, and for that you have to make sure that once the bell is rung, you start writing without thinking what to do, what not to do. Okay, I hope this video was a little longer, but I have completed all the points which is very much necessary just before your exam, and I made it in English also. I hope my English is good and you have understood everything. If you like this video, if you have been patient enough to cover all the points, you can write in the comment also that you have covered all the points. That I've watched your video till the end, to give some reach to this video and help more people. And comment in the video, because when you comment in the YouTube, that pushes the algorithm and help more people to get. If you like this video, do comment in the comment section.